Our conversation lingered for a few additional minutes, yet the jovial expressions on my husband and mother-in-law's faces gradually wilted. "Aria, are you all right?" The concern in their eyes was palpable. I blinked, startled. "What? No, it's nothing." I brushed off my husband's impatient inquiry, though his furrowed brow suggested he was concocting some kind of scheme. Abruptly, my mother-in-law rose, clutching her stomach with a wince. "Ouch, ouch!" Her hurried steps echoed as she dashed towards the bathroom. I exchanged a bewildered look with my husband before calling out, "Mom, what's happening? Why are you in so much pain?" Panic threaded my voice. This couldn't be real. A reproachful look from my husband sent shivers down my spine. "Aria, you didn't stir the tea, did you?" "I did. So did your mother. What's the issue with stirring tea?" "My name is Aria, a 30-year-old navigating through the corporate jungle. My husband Leo and I have celebrated 2 anniversaries since our paths collided during a professional rendezvous. He joined as a mid-career hire at a client company I was working with. Initially, his acclamation seemed rocky, revealing a man grappling with a new role in unfamiliar territory. However, our subsequent encounter unveiled a markedly different Leo, one who was astute and had found his footing. As our professional interactions blossomed into personal ones, dates and dinners naturally wove themselves into our narrative. His confession of love embarked us on a journey of romance, transitioning smoothly from dating to a serene marital bliss. Reflecting on our newly life, I remember it being quite harmonious. My culinary skills filled the gap left by my husband's lack of prowess in the kitchen. In exchange, he embraced the roles of cleaner, launderer, and the one who reliably disposed of our garbage, a task I found immeasurably helpful. However, a subtle shift began permeating through his behavior and attitude towards me. Where once he was my ever-present shadow, seeking constant attention and requiring my patience, much like training a puppy, his once sweetly spoken words have lately been delivered in a colder tone. "What's for dinner?" His query was curt. "Your favorite hamburger?" I received his indifferent okay with disappointment, feeling unappreciated despite the effort I put into preparing his favorite meal. The warmth he once showered upon me seems to have dissipated, and I find myself longing for the gentle kindness he once lavished upon me. My grievances aren't solely with my husband, though. My mother-in-law, a persistent thorn in my side since our nuptial beginning, always finds ways to critique me. "Aria, where are the snacks?" Her demands were unexpected, as was her visit. "I apologize, but your visit was unannounced. One should always anticipate and prepare." Her words were always barbed with expectation. Initially, my husband defended me against her critiques, yet recently he's unified with her in critiquing me. "Aria isn't really significant, is she?" He cast the words like stones. "A wife should always be prepared for a mother's visit. If you continue like this, you never know when I might leave you." Such words, now laced with threats of divorce, are far removed from the man I married. My emotions vacillate between sadness and a stubborn resolve to trust my husband, and then an unimaginable day unfolded. One weekend, my mother-in-law arrived at our home, curiously bearing tea and sweets. She presented an extravagant-looking tea with a veneer of warmth that felt entirely out of character. "I purchased the finest tea today. Let's savor it together," she exclaimed. I hesitated, sensing malice veiled behind her kindness. My husband, in a surprising twist, expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, Mother. Allow me to prepare the tea today." Lately, his words were often impatient demands. "Hurry, set the table. Mother is waiting." Why this sudden gentleness? My apprehension grew as he handed me a cup of tea, a grin stretching across his face. "Oh, it smells divine," my mother-in-law proclaimed, her nose hovering over the fragrant steam. My skepticism prompted me to lean in and inspect the tea. It smelled ordinary enough, but peculiar bubbles floated on its surface. Alarm bells rang in my mind. Drinking this was likely unwise, but how could I discreetly abstain? A thought occurred. "Mother-in-law, your favorite Korean singer performed on a music show recently, and I recorded it. Would you like to watch?" Her eyes lit up. "Really? I'll watch it right now." She bustled away to fetch the remote control. "Didn't you forget something?" I asked, seizing the moment. "You made tea but forgot to prepare snacks." I need to inform my husband, I thought, well aware of his somewhat arrogant and easily provoked demeanor. "I was just about to," he responded with a mild irritation, and promptly went to retrieve plates and snacks after I mentioned the lack of them. Seizing the moment, I switched my tea with my mother-in-law's as their attention was diverted. They returned, and we all sat, prepared to enjoy our tea. "This is a superb cup of tea, isn't it?" I gently probed as we all took our first sips. My mother-in-law and husband scrutinized me, perhaps anticipating a reaction. "It tastes distinct from the usual," I mentioned casually. Their smiles were almost victorious. "I know it's different, isn't it? But still delightful," they concurred. Their laughter, following my affirmation of the tea's deliciousness, harbored a sinister note. "Absolutely, it's wonderful," I continued, finishing my tea, all while their self-satisfied grins lingered. We continued to chat, but eventually their smiles withered into expressions of unease. "Aria, is everything all right?" My husband's voice tinged with the forced casualness. "What? No, it's nothing," I reassured him, recognizing a flicker of something amiss in his demeanor. Perhaps he had been orchestrating something. Abruptly, my mother-in-law rose, pain twisting her features. "Ouch! Ah!" She bolted to the bathroom, hands pressed to her abdomen. "Mom, what's wrong?" The worry in my husband's voice was genuine, belying his earlier smugness. "Why is there such pain in my stomach?" Her voice quivered between groans. He turned to me, eyes narrowing. "Aria, you didn't switch the tea, did you?" "I did," I admitted flatly. "You and your mother." His confusion was palpable. "What? Why would you do that?" "Why not?" I countered. "Is there a particular reason I shouldn't have? Was there something amiss with the initial tea intended for me?" He stammered, "No, it's just that. Speak the truth now. Otherwise, without proper treatment, your mother could be in grave danger," I declared sternly. With reluctance, he divulged the truth. "I put a substantial amount of laxative in your tea," he admitted shakily. "Call an ambulance now," I demanded. He complied, and soon my mother-in-law was whisked away, with my husband, distraught, following closely. Before leaving, I decanted the adulterated tea into a water bottle to preserve as evidence, intent on bringing this matter to the police. While they were at the hospital, I started packing my belongings, calling my parents to assist in moving them to their home. Once I reached my parents' house, my husband called. "My mother is critical. She'll be hospitalized for several days. Can you bring her some clothes and other necessities?" he implored. "What are you saying?" "I can't do that," I responded flatly. He persisted. "She's in dire straits. As my wife, you should do this at least." "We're finished. I'm divorcing you," I asserted. After a pause, he spoke. "I understand. If divorce is your wish, I won't oppose. But remember, since you're initiating it, you won't claim any property." I countered firmly. "You forced this divorce, not me. So I will claim what is rightfully mine," I declared resolutely. His response was swift and indignant. "Don't be absurd. I won't be paying you anything. The divorce was your initiative. I'm blameless here." My repulsion was palpable. "You blameless? You attempted to make me ingest a laxative-laden tea. How dare you presume innocence?" Though I possessed vital evidence to assure his retribution, he disconnected before I could mention it. Regardless, there were pressing matters at hand, like consulting a lawyer, so I pushed forward. Subsequent to my departure, my husband inquired about my missing belongings and bemoaned the disarray of the house due to my absence from domestic duties. His messages, steeped in unbridled selfishness and absurdity, were relentless. "You are aware of the implications of divorce, correct? Understand that you'll bear the entirety of household responsibilities," he texted. Though several clarifications burgeoned within me, I refrained from responding until legal counsel was secured. Upon my mother-in-law's discharge from the hospital, my husband and in-laws, adorned in palpable disdain, visited my parents' home. Dismissing divorce was no longer an option for me, yet I listened. "You never once visited my mother during her hospitalization. Plus, you absconded from our home with your belongings. How do you expect me to remain married to such a woman?" My husband asserted with unchecked arrogance, while my mother-in-law regarded me with unabated scorn. My husband and mother-in-law seemed intent on narrating only their version of events. Consequently, my father-in-law, perhaps the sole voice of reason in my husband's family, sided with them. "Aria, it appears you're being slightly selfish," he said. That must have been his perception, given that he'd only been privy to my husband's perspective. Undeterred, I withdrew my phone and played an audio recording. I indeed put a significant amount of laxative powder in Aria's tea. In many respects, the recording served as unassailable evidence. My husband and mother-in-law blanched as the audio played, their voices caught in an unsuspecting trap. "Father, I perceived a threat," I explained calmly. Hastily, I switched my tea with mother-in-law's. Subsequently, she experienced a violent stomach ache. She's consistently mistreated me. While my husband once defended me against her, recently they've united in their harassment. Today marked an overstep. Upon absorbing my words, my father-in-law fixed a stern, accusatory gaze on my husband and mother-in-law. "Leo, what is this? Did you participate in their torment?" he demanded. My husband and mother-in-law squirmed under the confrontation. "No, wait, Dad, it was merely a jest," my husband stammered. Aria experienced a stomach upset, and yes, I had placed laxatives in her tea. But it was intended as a light-hearted surprise. I'd never actually bully her. And I wouldn't either, my mother-in-law interjected. We were merely engaging in a little fun. To label it bullying is an exaggeration. Their cavalier attitude toward their jokes did little to vindicate them. "Don't assume you can perpetually evade consequences," I asserted firmly. "So this is the root of Leo's cruelty towards me, correct?" I quietly withdrew an envelope, scattering its contents across the table. Photographs, stark evidence of my husband's infidelity, gleaned from the detective agency, told a sordid tale. Leo paled visibly. "Surprised? Did you assume I was oblivious?" Your aloof demeanor bred suspicion, prompting me to engage a detective. Discovering your affair, however, was an unexpected revelation. Evidently, you thought harassing me into demanding a divorce would safeguard you. Leo's perspiration betrayed his anxiety as I pressed divorce papers before him. Surely, even someone as naive as you recognize the precarious position you're in now. Naturally, I'll be seeking alimony and an equitable division of assets. Oh, and let's not forget, I'll be filing an assault charge for the laxative incident. What? The police? Leo faltered. Hold on, don't you pity Leo at all? Interjected my mother-in-law. Pity? I retorted. Your collusion with him makes you equally culpable, mother-in-law. Both of you played a part in this. Wait, she stammered. Why would I face arrest? Leo provided the laxative. Mom, it was your scheme. Leo bit back. Don't dare make me the sole scapegoat. You enlisted my aid because you found a prospective new wife. She snapped back, and a heated argument between Leo and his mother ensued. Neither was willing to shoulder the blame. Despicable, both of them. My father-in-law, having witnessed enough, forcefully intervened. That's enough. Both of you are culpable for this crime. Cease this incessant bickering and jointly face the repercussions. Don't expect sympathy when the police come for you. And Leo, you must answer for your affair. Ensure Aria receives her rightful alimony and her due share of the property, my father-in-law declared sternly. Leo and my mother-in-law visibly quivered at his ferocious tone. I was relieved he spoke up, as my father was on the brink of unleashing his own fury. We'll handle the remaining details through our attorneys, I stated, urging Leo to sign the divorce papers promptly. His hesitation lingered until another thunderous reprimand from his father pushed him to sign. I sincerely apologize for the turmoil my foolish son and wife have unleashed, my father-in-law addressed us before escorting Leo and my mother-in-law away. Subsequently, I initiated legal proceedings to secure alimony from both my ex-husband and his lover, obtaining $30,000 from each through my lawyer. Furthermore, I filed an assault charge against Leo and my former mother-in-law, providing the police with the audio recording of Leo confessing to the laxative incident and the adulterated tea as evidence. Subsequently, they were arrested and each fined. Interestingly, my ex-father-in-law, repulsed by my ex-mother-in-law's actions, divorced her. Thus, she found herself compelled to work to pay off her fines independently. However, since she and my ex-husband are at loggerheads, attempting to shift blame onto each other, my ex-mother-in-law can't even depend on her own son. Presently, she's earning a meager wage through part-time employment to satisfy the fine. Conversely, my ex-husband faced the fury of his mistress, who was enraged by his false assurances that they could marry without any impediments or backlash from me. She furiously confronted him, and in a desperate move, he promised to pay her alimony. Resorting to a consumer loan, he managed to pay me the mistress's alimony in a single installment. Subsequently, she vanished, leaving my ex-husband abandoned by both her and me, saddled with a sizable debt, a fitting consequence in my view. In contrast, I secured what I aimed for, along with my portion of the property, providing me some relief. Currently, I reside solo in an apartment, diligently navigating through my work life, and recently, I've been promoted. I'm contemplating celebrating this achievement with a trip, perhaps alongside friends or my parents. Indeed, intentionally inducing someone to consume tea laced with laxatives is criminal, isn't it? It's far from a mere prank. The husband and mother-in-law truly deserve a hellish outcome. Regardless, I'm comforted that the father-in-law proved to be a rational individual who empathized with what Aria experienced. While this episode was catastrophic, I hope that Arya encounters someone truly wonderful in the times ahead.